Oh yes, legends, we are live. Let's analyze the price action for Bitcoin. Very steady, climbing here to the upside throughout the last few days, even last few weeks. Let's analyze the situation because it could be the breakout day today. It could be the breakout, fake out day, right? What is a breakout with this price action, right? What is a strong breakout? Is it $2,000? Is it $5,000? We're going to talk about the major levels of resistance, what we're looking at here, and what are the different scenarios that we can take into consideration, because ultimately we were very much aware of the price action to climb up very steadily here throughout the last few days. So today we're going to be analyzing, we are seeing a little bit of hype, we are seeing a little bit of people getting convinced that kind of the bull market is back. We've seen some altcoins popping. We're going to go to much higher levels. This is it, guys. The bottom is in, right? We're starting to get a little bit of that sentiment throughout social media, right? Be it X or on some other, a YouTube channel, other social media platforms, right? We are seeing that sentiment of, this could be it, right? This could be the breakout, right? We've got the classic just trend line here. Right, just a normal trend line, lower highs on the price of Bitcoin. We are still heavily downtrending. There's no reason to be excited on this movement, guys. I do think that the price could find very strong resistance and get some pretty epic pullbacks back down, guys, to the low $80,000 range and even go lower. Okay, so this is going to be the moment of truth, the moment of how far up can we go? Could we go to $90K, $92,000? And eventually, if we do get to $95,000, I would believe that that is a pretty damn strong breakout, and that the corrective move will be, the movement down will be very interesting to analyze, okay? To literally, believe that you have broken out from the last lower high, right? Because the last lower high, first of all, let me see if we are live, okay. Es muy importante saber que estamos en directo, amigos. Venga, vamos. Let's smash up that like button, guys. How many likes can we get? Not many people are interested. Not many people are interested on Bitcoin and my technical analysis. Not many views. Not many people are interested in looking for their predictions, guys. The predictions that we've been talking about. People are, not that interested. They're not that interested. And we have the technicals, we have the reasons to try and map the situation for Bitcoin. We have the knowledge, we have the power to use the technical analysis tools correctly to really, forget about moving averages and all of that, okay? Another indicator, just use some specific Fibonacci tools, right? And extensions which work very, very well, of course, right? We do have many videos to prove that. We do expect the highs to be taken from yesterday, right? We are expecting those highs to be taken out from yesterday or from Monday. I don't know what day we are in. We are still expecting that movement, right? To take out the highs. Question is, breakout, pump of $5,000, or fake out, we pump $1,000, $2,000, maybe $3,000, right? And then we turn back down, right? Staircase to the upside, elevator down. We are going to be analyzing that, okay, guys, in today's episode. And today, we're going to use a little bit of tools, right? Because it's been a bit boring, right? We know very likely that there's high probability in taking out $89,000. We do have a nice bunch of liquidity on there. There's a nice stack of liquidity, a few $100 million of short liquidations that are just basically on the verge of getting, hit, right? We do have a lot of liquidity to the downside, I have to say. There is, some pretty nice liquidity piling up to the downside from long positions, right? People are expecting that nice explosive breakout on Bitcoin, and then we know what happens next, right? Come back tomorrow. Oh my goodness, what a fake out, what a dump, what a trap, right? So what are the levels that we need to take into consideration for that trap, right? For that possible fake out scenario. We're going to be talking about it in today's live stream, guys. Let's get that like button absolutely destroyed. Not many people interested. Come on. Worst mic. Okay, sorry, guys. Whoa. The mic is bad. apparently. Worst mic ever. My son's just double check. And this fancy microphone, it sounds like that. Oh wow. Hang on a second, guys. Hang on a second. What is going on? Hello, test 1 2. Let me know, guys, if the mic is better now. Test 1 2. Let's see. Yes, the mic is good now. I don't know what the heck happened there. I do not know what happened, legends. Sorry about that. Must have been pretty annoying to hear the broken microphone. I don't know what the heck happened there. But let's go. All good now. All better. Fantastic. Let's go, legends. Let's go. Let's analyze the situation. The music is a bit loud, I think. Music is a bit loud. Let's put the music a bit lower, guys, because the music is a little bit disturbing. Right? Let's go right away through the technical analysis, legends. Let's go. Blank chart, nothing on the chart, all explained in detail from the beginning. That's what we like to do here, right? Not just get a bunch of lots of indicators and lots of colors on the chart, and then, you know, it's a big fat mess. We start off with a blank, nice, clean chart, and we analyze the waves, the projections, the confluence, step by step, guys. And that's what we like to do on the stream, right? Doing the pure technical analysis. Let's go right away through the comment section. And then, yes, guys, we're going to start building up. There's really nothing has changed. Nothing has changed. We got a little bump yesterday. We did not take out the highs. So we did rally pretty nicely here. We got a little bump right over here. And it seems like it is slowly trying to, you know, ascending triangle, if you wish, to finally get the pop out, right? We're going to talk about different scenarios that could happen here. Different scenarios that could happen here locally. But for the moment, nothing has changed, right? Nothing has really changed. We've just been slowly grinding to the upside, little pullbacks for the moment, slowly grinding. The overall idea is this. Nothing has changed, whether this is your wave 4 or not, or it's going to be on the 4. It's still on the formation, right? Do we still have that wave 4 formation? We're going to be analyzing that right away. I would be shocked if the price dips down from here, guys, and we collapse. I would be shocked. I would be like, wow, I was not expecting that. But as they say, expect the unexpected. Expect the unexpected. Could we get that collapse out of nowhere right now before hitting the highs? And we would have to restructure the analysis. It would have to be like, wow, you know, I was not expecting that. I don't think that is going to happen, guys. I think it's low probability, but I don't have a crystal ball, right? Could we get a big fat finger, right? Big fat whale that sells huge amounts of Bitcoin, tens of thousands, with a market order, and we get a dump? Well, obviously that is too much speculation, right? We still need to analyze the charts locally and see what's going on. There is some shorts entering the market, and we are getting some bullish CVD divergence locally here. Okay, nothing too major, but we are getting some lower lows on the CVD. Okay, we are getting here some lower lows in the blue, as you can see right over here. Some higher lows still right over here on the formation. That's nice to see. We do have a little bit of a higher time frame bearish CVDs throughout multiple exchanges, which is from this high, right, of yesterday. We are forming higher highs on the CVD right there, but the local bullish CVD divergence have more power. Okay, they have more power. The ones that are formed to the right have more confluence, right? More, it's more powerful. Let's leave it that way. the new ones that are being created, okay? So we are getting those bullish CVD divergence locally from today, but they are these disturbing bearish ones that are trying to push the price down, right? We're getting some shorts entering the market now, which is good. And we are getting the bullish CVD divergence, which is looking pretty okay to stabilize the price action here throughout this range. Let's go through the comment section as we do get that like button destroyed, guys. You know the deal. We're going to go through some major different scenarios that could happen, okay? Lots of local analysis because there's really not much to talk about right now since yesterday. It's pretty much the same. We had a bit of news, no volatility at all. Durable goods, maybe tomorrow GDP growth rate in the US. That's going to be a little bit more impact, I think, with some local volatility. This one didn't do anything on the chart, I have to say. And then on Friday, we do have personal income, core PCE, personal spending. I think there'll be a little bit of volatility throughout Friday as well, which will be looking very interesting. So we're going to do the analysis today as we get some people joining, right? And many people that are new must think, this dude has only, this on the chart, right? Who's this dude on YouTube that only has a random trend line and only has this on the chart, right? Does he even know what he's talking about? Does he even know what he's talking about? He hasn't got any indicators on the chart. What's going on? Let's go, guys. We'll be going through the meat and potatoes right away, guys. We'll go straight into the meat and potatoes right away in the next coming minutes. Let's say hello to the beautiful community as we get that people joining. All right. And smashing up the like button. I can see the like button is lagging behind a bit, guys. I'm not too motivated today. I need motivation based on the like. If we do not get that like button, okay, we are above 100. I needed to refresh there. 𝗕𝗶𝗿𝗃, rising wedge or bump and run. Let's go, Felipe. Long time no see. How are you doing, my man? BM, Andy, my man, where are you? I am here. Good morning. Wonder, Daniel Singleton, very long time follower, my man. You must be very good with technical analysis and trading. I know you've been here for a few years, my man. Much love to you. Montana, what's up? Let's go, Kendall. Got along on at the moment. Hope it skyrockets for half an hour. Yes, we all expecting that, right? We're all expecting those highs to be claimed so we can collect more profits, I have to say, right? We need to collect profits as we go up, guys. But the overall idea here is that at some point, I would say today, based on the timing, that we do have an attempt in breaking out the highs of today. At some point, we can go a little bit locally here, guys, with some aggressive scalping scenarios, right? Can we short here? Can we long for a little move of a few $100? Bang, 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 right? We can go a little bit in aggressive scalping territory when we zoom in on the 5-minute and 3-minute time frame, okay? That's what we're going to do basically today because nothing has changed. Nothing has changed throughout the last 24 hours. We're still grinding up. Okay, the question is right now, is this wave 4, is it here? Or are we still forming a complex WXY? Or this could still be the low? This could still be the 4th wave. And what you're forming here is your 1, 2, right? And then, you're building up your 3rd wave to break out in the next coming hours. Or it could still be a complex WXY. Regardless, it is corrective for the moment, right? What if this was the end and this is a 1, 2, 3? Unlikely scenario, right? Unlikely scenario. This is still looking very, very corrective, and there's a few explanations to realize that is corrective. Just like this is corrective, guys. We're expecting this movement to the upside. We analyzed very, very carefully this momentum. This is corrective, legends. This ride over here is looking very corrective. Who remembers this kind of price action that we formed just a few days ago, guys? This was last week, okay? This was Thursday. A few days ago, analyzed very nicely, almost to perfection, to get that bounce, right? We analyzed the waves and the scenarios to get into an epic long position to really take out 87,500 that played out beautifully, right? So we're going to be analyzing something very similar today in this region, because I do believe that this low right over here is not going to be taken. Okay, so anything that is formed in this area is interesting to re-enter some long positions or add to the position, right? If you're long from lower, and we'll be analyzing this structure, okay, depending on these local movements to realize what are we forming here, right? Because there are 3-4 scenarios in this range. And as the time goes on, you come up with 3 scenarios, then 2 scenarios, and then the confirmed 1 scenario where you can be confident and say, right, we're gonna pump up, right? The rest of the scenarios have been literally invalidated, right? Depending on what local price action we form. Let's go through the comment section. Continues to say hello as we get the people joining on the live stream. Spanish is nice. Love to hear it. Felipe, my man, much love to you. Sound was not great, so worst mic ever. I know I got this fancy Shure microphone and it was not working, eh? You know, how bad does that look? How bad does that look? So much better, much better. Let's go. Lauren, bon dia, Andy Pandy. How are you, Lauren? Much love to you. DJ Andy, yes. Yeah, no way. DJ, very, very bad technician, as you can see. It was like TA from the toilet, says Patrick. Yes. Very good one. David Cooper, thanks for the €5, brother. I have a theory that the Trump tweet is holding the real previous high, and we have actually already broken out from it since it was a manipulated move. Very interesting, very possible. CME gap. We got a CME gap, guys. I forgot about that CME gap because I really don't pay attention to CME gaps. So I kind of forget about them. I kind of forget about the CME gap. We got that one, which was very interesting from a few months ago, from November. And we got a CME gap down here. You know what? I think this CME gap is going to get filled. I think it's going to get filled, guys, in the next coming days. I do think so. I think, you know, what I am leaning on is that the breakout will not have much power, okay? But I don't know. You know what? I do not know. If I said that I knew, I would be a liar. I would be a liar if I said the breakout is going to be powerful here, guys. There is many reasons to believe that this, you know, it's a pretty nice trend line as well, I have to say. Huh? Pretty nice, respected, lower high resistance trend that we're just basically at right now, okay? Some might think this is a huge, gigantic double bottom that we are forming right there, and this breakout is going to hit $95,000. What is important is this movement up, okay? The most important thing is how the price has moved up from the lows. I don't care about this trend line. What I care about is how we moved up here. What is the kind of price action that we formed throughout this move to the upside? It's all I need to know. It's all I need to know. Forget about this trend line. This is a bunch of rubbish. It's not rubbish, okay? It could be a powerful break, okay? And there is a reason to believe it could be a powerful break. The main reason for it to be a powerful break, which is, in my opinion, the lowest probability scenario, is that we are forming a multiple 1-2 setup, right? That we've been talking about now for the last 1 to 2 weeks, right? We were talking about this double 1-2 since we created the second 1-2. Then we had another one, and now we have another one, right? And then the third wave breakout, we just don't really know. Or could we form the 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 wave? The fifth wave is the one that is actually going to create that massive move to the upside and create a third wave, right? In the green, of course, because we're looking at our third wave 1 and 2. So what you have here is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You get an extensive fifth wave to possibly form a third wave. This would have to pump to $93,000, $94,000, guys, for me to believe that we are in a multiple 1-2 setup. This is decreasing drastically in probability, guys, as the time goes on here. So what are we leaning on here is that very likely, very possibly, we are still in a corrective move. Okay, that the breakout is going to top out potentially, right? That's for me, the highest probability scenario. And what is interesting is where could the price top out? And we're going to give some projections. We're going to use a few tools and a bit of confluence to really see the strongest zone of resistance. We're even going to pull out harmonic today. We're even going to pull out a harmonic pattern, which is a deep crab, guys. It's a deep crab. And that's if we do break out in the next coming hours, right? What harmonic pattern am I talking about? Well, if we do maintain this low right over here, which is where we bounced from the golden pocket from yesterday's lows to yesterday's highs, right? The golden pocket got the beautiful bounce, as you can see here, from this move to the upside. And what you do have here is a nice boom, boom, 0.88 touch from this high to this low, which increases the probability that these highs are going to be taken, because a 0.88 is very rare for a wave 2, for the price to actually break down from here. And a wave 3, of course, we could get surprised, guys. It could be a surprise. Or this, a truncated fifth wave, which is extremely rare. I mean, that would be devastating, because when we talk about the lowest probability scenarios, they are low probability, but it could still be the case. Truncated fifth wave is when your fifth wave does not get above the third wave, right? That would be devastating, and the move has finished. This has been the finished move. You have your wave 1 from the lows of last Friday, your wave 2, your wave 3, your wave 4, your wave 5, which is a very rare scenario that you do not take out the third wave, okay? Very, very rare. Very, very rare, okay? So I would lean that, you know, it's unlikely that this is the top, right? It's unlikely that this was the top. We all get trapped, right? We all get trapped because we're expecting the highs to be taken. And what we formed here is a 5-wave move up, but the 5th wave was truncated. It did not manage to take out the 3rd wave. It happens, not often, but it happens. We're not going to lean on that scenario till we actually break down, okay? So if we move down from here, I have to say, I missed shorting the market. There's no real good short trades for me at the moment, unless they're very small little scalps, right? If you want to trade $300-400 as a move, there's not really very interesting shorts at the moment until the price, okay, hits big major levels of resistance that are going to be explained in this live stream, or we come down and we hit the golden pocket from your wave 2 end, or the start of your wave 3 to the end of your wave 3. The moment you come down to the golden pocket, if you do not take out the highs, just as an example, guys, I do think that the highs here will be taken and we could be forming a larger correction, okay? But it's just to let you know how I would be interested in looking for shorts very aggressively if the price comes down out of a miracle or a massive selling, you know, whatever happens. If the price comes down without taking out the highs and we hit the golden pocket, it will already tell me that this structure was finished. And what we are looking at here is the price action to really, you know, start dumping down in the next coming days. This would be rare that this has formed a truncated fifth wave, okay? Still believe that we're going to get that breakout, and there's other different scenarios looking at the chart, okay, which we're going to talk about right away. So let's go right away and go through the different scenarios, okay? Quickly say hello to the people in the comment section again. Murad, my man, this is the best analytical dude on the internet. Man, you're too good. Not in terms of predictions, but plans are so solid. Man, I love you. Not only that, but also so humble. Thank you very much, my man, for that insane comment. Much love to you and your family, brother. That was very nice. That was a very nice comment. Made my day, man. Made my day. Much love to you. Yeah, Andy is a legend. Thank you very much. Ukraine agree. Leonardo, BTC is bullish. I'm still waiting to buy at lower prices because I don't trust this pump. Well, if you're looking to have Bitcoin in your portfolio, the best is to DCA, okay? DTM, my man, much love. Smash up the like button. Let's see how many likes we do have, guys, as we do continue with the TA, okay? We're gonna analyze a few different scenarios, a few plans, okay? Because we build up the plans, right? The plans are built up. The plans are built up. This dump is looking a little bit scary. Woo! It's looking a little bit scary. Oh my goodness. Okay, so let's talk about, okay. I would be surprised myself, guys, if this were to be the end of that truncated fifth wave. Most commonly, we take out the highs, okay? Most commonly, we do take out the highs. This could actually be very, very interesting price action that we do form in the next coming hours. Okay, I want to explain a few scenarios that could happen. So bear with me here, guys. Bear with me. Bear with me. As explained yesterday, for me, it was clear that this was a three-wave structure, okay? It's eventually a three-wave structure after getting this movement up, all right? This is a three-wave move down. It's not impulsive. If it were to be impulsive, we had to form a lower high in this region and get another leg down to form a five-wave move to the downside. I would be worried if we would have formed this price action yesterday, okay? But we didn't. We took out, okay, the golden pocket from this pivot high right over here to the pivot low, which automatically invalidates this scenario as a strong impulse, right? Your wave 5 is no longer in. We come up here, we hit the 0.88 Fibonacci, absolutely beautiful from the highs to the lows. Very good. This is a kind of a confirmation that what you are forming here is corrective, and at some point you are going to take out 88,800 with very high probability, right? It's going to happen very, very likely, okay? Based on this structure that is confirming that it is more corrective than actually starting to be an impulse to the downside. So when I do analyze this wave, because this is one wave, guys, right? It's pretty clear that this was a one wave up, right? We are putting this as a wave 3. And this was the corrective move that ended up in a 3-wave structure, right? This right over here ended up in a 3-wave move. Right, I actually did the micro counts here on this C wave, and it's very, very, very legit. You have a double 1 2 here, then you have a 3 4 5 and a 4 5, right? So very, very nice C wave move down, and then the price action, you know, getting a pretty decent pump. I am going to say that what we could be forming now in this region is just a complex correction, okay? Would be nice to see this, you know, really grinding here to the upside already, but it's getting a little bit more complex, right? It's getting a little bit more triangly, more sideways. It's going to be interesting what we do form right now in the next coming hours, because there are a couple of scenarios. Let's plan something here, guys, together. Let's plan something together, because what I am thinking of, two scenarios, is a W right there in a zigzag, an X wave right over here, whoops, a W right over here, an X wave and a Y wave formation, okay? This fourth wave still, you know, developing. And I'm going to talk about two very possible scenarios that could happen. You have this corrective move in a three-wave structure. This is as well a double zigzag. I did count this today, but there is a way in counting this as a double zigzag, okay, which is your X wave. I don't want to go too much into detail, because people are going to go like, yeah, come on, you and your micro counting waves, you know, screw you. We're just going to leave it as, you know, still a corrective move. And now we are in the formation of the Y wave, right? We could be in the formation of the Y wave. Now, what we do see here, and I would be a little bit skeptical. I wouldn't think that this is going to extend extremely long, okay? Let me just double check here with the wave 2 on the timing from the start of your wave 1 here, the end of your wave 1 to the end of your wave 2. We're just measuring here a little bit of the wave and compare it to your wave 4. And usually you want to see your wave 4 a little bit longer, probably twice as long, 3 times possible as well. Obviously, when it's more than 4 times longer, it's like, you know, it's decreasing the probabilities that you're still looking at the wave 4. But this could extend till tomorrow, right? And even Friday, we could really extend just a very boring sideways momentum, claiming lows, claiming highs, and form a very, very wide range. I mean, this could still be possible, but it's about time, right? You're almost going to be double the length right now from your wave 2 here. So it does make sense that this could be at the end stages to then finally get the pump and claim the highs. So if this were to be a WXY, there are 2 scenarios that could happen. If you have a zigzag here and you pump up so much on your X, hitting your 0.88 Fibonacci, there are only 2 scenarios that could happen if this were to be a WXY and you pump up here. One scenario is forming a triangle here. One scenario is forming a triangle, which could be right over here on the formation, right? It could be on the formation right now, this triangle, which is literally looking at a ABCDE, where you have your A wave, you have your B wave, you have your C wave, you have your D and your E. Now, you would say, well, if we're going to form this, why not jump into a long position now, right? Do you think that this is going to be the low? Well, absolutely not, because this triangle potentially is going to be much larger, right? It's going to be much larger. You're going to actually claim the lows here, and this is going to be your zigzag. Then you're going to form a zigzag here, then another zigzag, and then, you know, your triangle is much wider before you get the breakout. So it's going to be a little bit difficult here, because, you know, this could still extend. We could still extend here for the next coming hours, right, between today and tomorrow. So maybe this was not your A wave, and your A wave is on the formation still. Very, very difficult at the moment. But what is for sure is that if you do bounce from here, okay, and this is how you detect this trade setup, right? If we bounce from here and we form a higher low, right, and we get another lower high, now you have the completion of a triangle. And this triangle is bullish because it's part of a corrective move that we formed throughout the last few days. So the overall plan game idea here for a new setup is, I do not know if we are going to form a higher low here. This could claim the lows and we're forming a much larger triangle throughout the next 24 hours, right? It's very, very possible. Very, very possible. So what I need in this triangle is a confirmed higher low. I need a confirmed lower high. And this correction, if we form a higher low here, this correction will be the one that I'm interested in getting into the long position with stop loss beneath the low. Okay, I'm not sure if I do have anything here on a WXY and a triangle. I got something here that I can show you, right? So here it is, right? It could be a zigzag or a flat in your W. You could have your X wave, which comes up very nicely, almost hitting the highs. And then you have a triangle formation, right? This is just like the theory here, guys, that what could happen. In this case, your ABC flat in your W, but it could be a zigzag as well. It doesn't matter. Zigzag flat. Then you have your zigzag in your wave X, right? Which is a double zigzag that we talked about. And then you're forming this kind of price action, right? Eventually, this is coming from an uptrend, and you would expect that breakout. So we still need a few more pivots to be formed here to be confident that we are forming this, right? That we are forming this kind of structure. And as you can see, we are analyzing the first move down, then the next move up, and a possible triangle. Let's leave it as possible triangle. Could it be the case? Well, we're going to find out in the next coming hours unless we break down, right? Unless we break down. But if we do maintain this higher low and we get a little bounce somewhere in this region, and this little bounce also loses momentum, we have got it, guys. We've cracked the code and we have a scenario, right? With the picture that I just showed you, it was literally a flat, a zigzag up, and then the triangle formation, right? This one, we have a bit of an aggressive zigzag down. We got this movement up, and now we could be on the formation of the triangle, right? And this is literally a WXY sideways double combo, right? This is literally what we're kind of looking for, but instead of a flat, we're looking at a zigzag here in your W. This eventually is coming from a pretty nice steep uptrend, right? So we realize that the pattern has been starting to form from here, right? From this uptrend. This is where we stop and we form the next pattern that could very possibly be this one right over here. When do you have a very good setup for this pattern, right? When do you have a very good setup for this pattern? When you have your D wave in. When you have your D wave that is in, this correction is the one you want to be eyeing, because that is the one that you would want to enter. That is the one that you would want to enter. Stop loss beneath the C wave low right over here. And then, you know, the risk to reward is not that massive right now, but it's still a good risk to reward. But we need one more lower high, and we need the bounce eventually. If we lose this low, then we're not looking at the triangle just yet, right? So it's all about waiting to see if we do form this pattern. But it's one plan, right? I got one plan here. And it's a plan that is, you know, created right now. You know, we would be looking for that breakout. So let's see if we do hold here a higher low. And we could see that possibly, you know, we are in the formation of the triangle here. Now, this is one scenario. This is one scenario out of many other scenarios. So let's just put this right over here. We like to organize our charts, guys, as we build up the different scenarios that could happen. Right, we got that over there. Another scenario that could happen. What if the price finds support here, right? You form a higher low and you literally just blast off here, right? It just rockets to the highs. There is a possibility on this, right? It's very, very hard, of course. You could consider this price action that we did form throughout yesterday to today, right? This movement down that we formed from yesterday's highs, when we analyze the waves, we do have a 5-wave move down. It's not the most beautiful. It's very contracting type of move. You got your wave 4 overlapping your wave 1, so that it automatically turns into a contracting 5-wave move to the downside. Okay, you got a 5-wave contracting move here. There is a possibility that you have formed a running flat. Now, running flats are very, very uncommon. Okay, where your ABC, you got a zigzag right over here. You got a double zigzag right over here, forming your B wave, getting to the 0.9 Fibonacci. That's already your minimum target for a flat. And you formed a 5-wave move down here to finish your C wave. They are uncommon, so you always lean on the side that you're not giving this the highest probability. But if you were to shoot up from here, this changes the game to really analyze where the price could peak out. If you were to form a higher low in this zone, and you were to move up very aggressively in the next coming hours, I know that this was your ABC flat. Your wave 4 finished here. And that comes to, you know, this all builds up the high probability short trading setup later on, okay? Because if I know, if the price forms a higher low here, and we do get a blast off, I know that this is your wave 1 and this is your wave 3. So what I would be paying attention here is for the wave 4 and then the wave 5. And if we do form this kind of price action, that is the moment I want to get into the short position in that 5th wave to complete the higher time frame 5th wave, which eventually is looking for a pretty steep correction of several $1,000s in the next coming days. There is a little bit of imagination behind this, guys, but overall it's different plans, right? It's different plans, right? Because you do not know what the price is going to do next. But if you form certain price action, right, you understand what could be forming, right? What we could be forming. So it looks like the price, it wants to break here. It's getting a little bit punchy. It's getting a little bit scary. It's dumping, right? Nothing too major just yet. Nothing too major. We're holding the higher low support trend. Maybe some people, some trend line lovers, some support higher low lovers, maybe want to get into a long position at this support, right? It is higher low support. Preferably we don't lose that low, right? Maybe some people are interested in getting it, jumping into small little long here. Let's talk about this ABC flat running, ABC running, and let's just put that in a folder, right? We got something here. We got something here, guys, right? It might be funny because some people might think, you know what? Oh, I don't want this trend line here. Or this one. Some people might be like, so many different scenarios. You don't know what the heck's going to happen. Well, I will be ready to enter a long position. As mentioned, if we form a lower high here and we form a higher, I just need one more lower high. I would be interested in longing this correction. Okay, so I need that price action, right? I need that price action. If that were to be the case, then obviously it's a very high probable setup. It's a very, very high probable setup where you would finish your WXY here. So, I like that scenario. It looks pretty damn interesting. Looks very good. Another plan would have to be, let's create, we need to create plans here, guys. We need to create plans. So this movement up, down, if we were to claim the highs here, I don't like this one too much, but we need to consider it, right? The other scenario that is also a WXY, right? The one that we just built up is this one, right? Another one that we're going to build up here is that you have your W and your zigzag, you got your X, and there's another Y scenario that could happen, which is a flat. And these are devastating. We got these ones, which were, it was a move that we anticipated that could happen last week. And I haven't got it on a folder anymore, but I really enjoyed this one right over here because in this price action, we had a double flat, which is already rare on its own. We had a flat here. Where was it? Where was it? I remember here somewhere. We kind of had a flat right over here. I had this structured. Yeah, there it is. This was the scenario that it was just to look at something that we mentioned as well. There was a flat right over here, and there was a possible flat right over here where the price rolled back down, which was very interesting, right? You claim the lows, claim the highs, you get the dump. In this case, it is inverted, but it can happen. Let's leave it that way. It can happen where you can have a flat in your W and your Y, sorry. Okay. So what you would be looking at is the price action basically claiming the highs. And this would be very, it would be rare in my opinion, but it's possible. Okay. So we just want to be ready just in case volatility kicks in, because we know there's a lot of people that are excited, right? Or maybe some people very bullish, right? And believe in this breakout that's going to happen. And what you could have is a quick flush before you move to the upside, which is very, it does happen. Let's leave it as it does happen, where you claim this local high, and before taking out the highs of Monday, you SFP from it, and then you sweep up this low to grab a bunch of stop losses, and then the price moves to the upside and claims the highs. However, all of those people that FOMO'd in, right, for the breakout, we're forming an ascending triangle. It's just something that you would want to be ready for, okay? It's just something that you would want to be ready for. To jump into a long, guys, you know, this is a very bad short, okay? It's a very bad SFP. This is an SFP that you would not want to enter ever. Based on the bullish momentum, we are looking for the highs to be taken, right? Remember that. So shorts get dangerous as we get very, very close to the highs. But I understand that it is possible that you could form a flat in your Y wave, okay? And this might sound Chinese, guys, but this is the classic kind of volatility that you don't know what the heck is going on, and you just sweep up this high. You get the FOMO longs here to take profit at the high. It's just a little scalp long. They FOMO into longs, right? It does happen. And then you get a big dump down to sweep up this higher low where all of the stop losses are hidden. And that's where you want to jump into the long and get into this movement. I'm not sure if I have the picture here to explain this scenario in a Y flat. Okay, and it's very, very classic. It's very, very classic that you do get a flat in your wave Y. I've seen it before. Just realizing that we are in a complex correction, guys. This could happen, right? It could happen. Is it going to happen? I don't know. I do not know. But if we move up and we sweep up this high without taking out the high here by just a few $100s, and we come down in a very drastic drop, and this is what happens in an ABC flat, your C wave is like boom, and then it recovers very quickly. It would be a fast move, guys, okay? So it's an option here. Where you need to be ready is here. You need to be ready as soon as all of those long positions from today's momentum get excited because of Bitcoin and news, and we're going to break out. We're going to go to 90K, 92K. Let's all jump into the long before the breakout or during the breakout. And it's very classic to get a quick move down to sweep up all of that liquidity before it gets a movement up. I don't know. I know it's an option that it could happen. I know it's an option, but this would be the epic long, and this literally turns into a swing failure pattern, right? The price action sweeps up the low of your A wave, and the price action gets back above eventually, and then you start grinding to the upside very aggressively. This is the moment where you take action. You take action on that drop as all of those stop losses that are hidden beneath the last higher low are getting swept, and then you are jumping into this trade. So that is a plan, guys, right? That is a plan. And what I like about this, when you create certain plans and you know how the price action could move in the next coming hours, well, you have your folders here from the local price action, right? And now what I have is several plans. I know this could happen. I know this could happen, right? And if you want to put your long setup strategy here, you know, one would be looking like this. Give or take, right? We don't, you know, give or take the entry zone. You could put that right over here. You could put this one also right over here. You want it, this would be so nice, guys. This would be so nice. I've seen this before. It would be so nice, right? And you can put this with this plan right over here, right? Just put that flat. So you have a few plans, right? You have a few plans that could happen and you have them ready. If you take out the highs without taking this high and you come down, there is a long setup after sweeping up this low. It's a plan. It is there. If you start continuing the range in the next coming hours, you form another lower high here, which would be interesting. If we get this kind of price action, this could be a long setup. We might get this on the stream. I mean, I think it would take a couple of hours to develop, and then it breaks out. So you are creating the different possible moves that could happen so you can actually get into the trade, right, with high probability. Now the question is, Andy, what if the price breaks down from here, right? What if we get a gigantic dump and we just break down, right? We ain't going to take the highs. I mean, we only need to lean, right? There's no quick short trade at the moment when we have a possible another wave to the upside that needs to be formed, right? There's no nice $2,000-$3,000 move of a trade right now when I realize that the probabilities are, you know, taking out the highs from Monday. So what we need to lean on here is building up the different possible setups. There could be another one that could be forming, which is you take out this low. Okay. And what you are forming is a larger triangle, right? Which is forming a zigzag, another zigzag move up, another one, A, B, C, D, E, right? And it just gets very long, and then it finally breaks out tomorrow, maybe at some point, right? It's very, very possible. Okay, so I mean, with this theory, would I say that sweeping up the lows here is a good long position? I would have to say, yeah, I like it. I like the possibility of an SFP from this low, because there's no reason to believe that we're going to take out this low. There's no major reason. This has been very steep. A zigzag here. I mean, could it form a zigzag like this? Could we form a third wave here, then 4, 5, and this is your ABC? I would have to say it would be a little bit dangerous in my opinion, but there could be it could actually SFP from this low. You know, you know me, I like to get into very high probability trading setups. But I do realize that this triangle could extend, right? Interesting. It's a possibility, guys, here that the triangle could extend, okay? So, I mean, I would leave this as a larger triangle possibility. So we're gonna build it up. We're gonna leave it on the folder, right? And then we'll see tomorrow what's played out. But we need the completion of this structure, of these structures that we're building up, okay? We need the completion, right? To actually speculate on the trading setup, right? There's many different ones, right? But all of them will bring the setup, right? This is what it would be looking like, right? Something like this, give or take. A, B, C, D, E. And we can just put that on a folder. Is it possible to extend? I would say yes. But the long opportunity, if we were to range here for the next 24 hours, the longing opportunity, you know, still remains here. It remains here. If this is going to be ranging for the next 24 hours, you know, we just need to monitor the price action, and we'll get into a higher probability trading setup. But we need to form the range, right? Because this could break down, right? Let's just say this might waterfall from here. And it's like, oh, I was in a long position. Well, you did not wait for the different waves, the different patterns to, you know, to form. And, you know, it's just getting some plans ready, guys. And this is what the trading setup for the day looks like. So, it's just giving some different scenarios that can happen here, guys, right? And I'm still leaning on, you know, we are looking bullish, and I am looking for the highs to be taken. But this range could get a little bit choppy, right? It could get a little bit choppy, it could get a little bit disturbing. Worst case scenario is the highs are in. Worst case scenario is that this was your wave 4 and this was your wave 5, and that is kind of the worst case scenario. And you know, if that were to be the case, then a lot of people are kind of expecting the breakout. A lot of people are looking to jump into longs based on the possible break move up, and you have a finished movement here in this this WXY right over here, right? This is a finished wave C with a truncated fifth wave, and it just catches everybody surprised, right? And I would have to say I missed out on the short position. You know, there's no way I could jump into a short trade here based on my analysis. I want to know if anybody's in a short and believes that we are going to dump from here, because it would be interesting to know your opinion, right? Your opinion. But if we were to dump down from here several $1,000s, right, and we hit the golden pocket, I would confidently say that, damn, you know, this movement up ended up here. If we get down to 85,500, I would say that this movement has finished, and what we're looking at is continuation to the downside in the next coming days to the low 80k levels. So, you know, I will miss out on shorting the highs, but I will jump into a short position later on, guys. You know, it's like there will be a moment to find the short. Let's build up another scenario that could definitely happen, all right? Just in case we get an aggressive move down to reclaim the lows of yesterday at $86,300, because I would be interested in jumping into a long position. If we get down there, I would still give a chance for the wave 4 here and then the wave 5, as long as you do not hit the golden pocket. So you could actually kind of create a swing failure pattern from this low over here. If we move down very aggressively, I do think that a swing failure pattern and a recovery later on, this is just like stopping out all of those people that are longing, you know, late on this uptrend. But it's a very, very possible move. Let's just clear the chart here 1 second and talk about that scenario, which I think is very much a possibility, where really your ABC is extending. Your ABC is extending here. You do not hit the golden pocket, and you literally create a swing failure pattern from this low, hit 50% Fibonacci, which is a common target for your wave 4, and then you get the runner to the upside. Getting, you know, stopping out all of the local long positions that are jumping into a long, and then eventually you look for the long position. So this is a good swing failure pattern level, or treat the 50% Fibonacci as a swing failure pattern, stop loss beneath the golden pocket, and you're literally looking for this movement up. And this was your ABC movement, right? It would be a flat. It would be an ABC flat because you've hit the 0.9% Fibonacci. So this would be a very interesting long position that I would be interested in. We are moving a little bit down now. We are moving a few $100s to the downside. It's just a plan to get ready for. I would be actually quite interested in this scenario, which is very, very possible. So we're going to wait for that. Price is moving down a little bit aggressive now. We got the stock market open. What's going on with stock market? Let's analyze. Stock market is taking a little bit of a dumpy action, dragging Bitcoin down. Local dump here throughout the last 30 minutes on stock market, which is dragging crypto. It is dragging Bitcoin to the downside. So let's see, right? We got one scenario that has been invalidated. It's very close to getting validated, right? So we need to get it off the chart. This is when you build different scenarios, you need to take them off the chart, because this one that we talked about is no longer relevant. There's no triangle forming here. We are losing the local lows. So this one directly goes to the bin. We chuck it in the bin, right? It's no longer relevant because the lows have just been taken. We've just taken out the lows. So there's no triangle formation. So this goes in the bin. So you no longer take this one into consideration. And you could have the larger triangle structure possibly forming, right? Maybe this could be the case. As you lose the lows, you just need to chuck these different scenarios in the bin because they're no longer relevant. Pretty steep correction as stock market is getting a little bit of a dump. I mean, yeah, Bitcoin is getting dragged by this stock market dump. I guess NASDAQ also taking a bit of a hit, getting a little bit of a dumpy action pretty aggressively. I would actually be quite surprised that we do break down here, okay? I would be surprised that we do break down. And the simple answer to this breakdown would be this has been a truncated fifth wave, which is extremely rare. But it does happen, right? Let's leave it that way. It does happen. This is going to be very, very interesting. Very, very interesting to see the next price action. You know, we need a hold here, or we need to actually claim this low of yesterday. And I would still lean on the side that this has been an ABC movement, right? I would be very interested in that long position if we do get down there. I will jump into a long position here at the 50% Fibonacci legends if we do get down there at 66,200. We're just $600 away from it. If we do get down there with this pretty aggressive leg down, I'm interested in the long. And stop loss is going to be crystal clear. Stop loss is at the golden pocket. And eventually the recovery is looking for the next coming days, right, to recover here. As if we do get down there. I'm not sure if we will. And we might just range here ever so slightly, guys, in the next coming hours. You know, it's very rangy. We got the dump down. We could still form a very boring triangle formation, which is this one, right? It still could be the case. that it's going to be ranging here for the next coming hours. There's actually a little 𝗬𝗆𝗽 pattern here possibly forming. We got a little 𝗬𝗆𝗽 pattern here. Let's take a look at CBD, because CBD is taking a major hit, major collapse down. Yeah, we're getting pretty intense bullish CBD divergence at the moment. There is a chance. Yeah, we got a little 𝗬𝗆𝗽 pattern. This is a bit of an aggressive long trade, a little bit aggressive in my opinion, but we do have a 𝗬𝗆𝗽 pattern, and this could still be part of a zigzag. This could be a zigzag move, and we're just going to be ranging here, legends. But there is the 7/8 Fibonacci. It's a little bit catching a major drop, no major consolidation, but there is a 𝗬𝗆𝗽 pattern here, which is kind of in confluence with some other scenarios. 7/8 touched, and it could get a little bounce here. There was a little bit of a quick one, bit aggressive. Anybody that this would be a little bit in confluence with the triangle that could be on the formation, but this is really kind of trying to catch the bottom of a move. These are risky. These kind of setups after such a waterfall, they can be the best ones, because you just move down, you hit the Fibonacci level and you get a bounce, you know, very quick. And it's like, wow, it's a bit of a bottom catching situation, right? And you need to be ready for this scenario. But anybody that's not aware of a harmonic pattern, and this would be a little bit in confluence with the possible, you know, triangle large range that could be forming. But yeah, anybody that's not aware of harmonics, you do find them in the 15-minute, in the 5-minute. Higher time frames are much better for swing long positions, but we just literally formed a quick 𝗬𝗆𝗽 pattern that could maintain these lows. It could maintain the 7/8 range. Not the most symmetrical, beautiful one, but it's very much a valid one. Anybody that's not aware of a harmonic 𝗬𝗆𝗽 pattern, it is this one right over here, right? Where you get your B wave to the golden pocket, C wave to the 382.88. You got a bit of a range, and then you have the 7/8 Fibonacci touch from X to A, right? The D point is the 7/8 Fibonacci, and that's, you know, literally what's happened right over here. A little bit of a quick 𝗬𝗆𝗽 pattern, a little bit of an aggressive move, right? These are only for the brave. These are only for the brave to catch the bottom, basically, right? Or try and catch that aggressive movement to the downside. Being a little bit aggressive, right? A little bit of an aggressive catch. But that's what happens here as well. And this could be in confluence with not an easy catch, I have to say. Not an easy catch. Let's go through the comment section and say hello to the beautiful community. Still leaning on all of this is corrective, guys. As you know, as mentioned, you know, we're not looking at this to be the truncated fifth wave. Whatever is happening here is just part of the internal volatility. And at some point, we will find that bottom formation with high probability, despite the internal volatility that happens in this range, okay? The main reason why there is high probability still in taking out the highs here is purely based on the 0.88 touch here from the highs to the lows. You've hit 0.88 Fibonacci, increasing the probability that whatever happens here is still part of a correction, okay? So it's going to be interesting how we develop in the next coming hours, right? And I do still think that there is a chance in forming that larger triangle. All of these are aggressive catches, right? Somebody might think that we have broken down from this triangle, right? We've broken down the triangle here. This is a triangle break to the downside. And we are going to, we've broken trend. We've broken trend and we're breaking down here. And coming down to 85,000. Right? Well, I would be, would be very surprised if the price does that. Which I do not think it's going to happen, right? So we're looking at other stuff that has higher probability, other more advanced stuff, guys, because anybody that's looking for a break of trend right now, then eventually this comes back up inside this zone, and then it's like, okay, breakout trade, not working, not working, right? Anyway, let's go through the comment section, see what the people say. What do you see on the chart? Anybody shorting this dump or anybody shorted already from earlier today? Like I said, anybody that is shorting in this area, take them as, I would take them as scalps. Anybody that managed to get into some shorts, longs are looking more interesting here throughout this range. We're forming very aggressive bullish CVDs. We got a bunch of shorts entering here throughout multiple exchanges. Lots of shorts entering here with that dump of the stock market. Stock market already getting a little bit of a bounce. Okay, a little bit of a quick waterfall here happening throughout the last 30 minutes on the open. And lots of shorts FOMOing here to the downside. And this is actually forming some pretty interesting bullish CVD divergence from this pivot low, okay? Very, very strong bullish CVD divergence, which is looking very interesting for the recovery. Okay, let's go right away. Long and strong, baby, says Bucks. Don't be scared, guys, from these little dumps, right? I have to say this harmonic was a bit of a quick, aggressive catch, okay? But it's pretty interesting to see the little harmonic here. I actually did not detect this. I wanted to talk about another harmonic to detect where the fifth wave could move here. Okay, and what we know about extensions, because I am interested in a short position, guys, once we break up, but we know that the price action could really scale to the upside. It's like, my shorts are getting wrecked. I shorted here. I shorted there. I do think that the price is going to reverse. We have very, very good specific levels where we have confluence. And you just need to get ready for them, right? And I prefer a little bit of higher time frame to get into a day trade, right? This is a bit of an aggressive scalp if you're looking for a harmonic here, right? Sweep up the lows, bullish CVDs. Your long entry is at the 7-8. And give or take stop loss at the lows. You're looking for a pretty nice recovery here. At least to the golden pocket, right? Which would be your take profit one. These are very short scalps of a 2-to-1 risk to reward. Nothing very, very big as reward. But let's talk about the possibility of where this fifth wave could extend, right? And one of my favorite extensions is the golden ratio, which is the 1.618 Fibonacci from the high to the low. You get your Fibonacci tool retracement, and from the high to the low, you got the 1.618 extension, right? From this basket, if you want to say, right? From this round formation, from this corrective move. So it's a projection. A projection is the 1.618 extension, which is sitting at $90,000. You could build up that you have a deep crab formation. I mean, if this were to be a legit higher low, which we still do not know, but if you do manage to, move to the upside here pretty aggressively, you could have a deep crab formation, right? And all of this is in confluence with Elliott wave theory, or it's all Fibonacci. It's all Fibonacci. to realize where that fifth target could go, getting the Fibonacci extension, obviously from your wave 1 then to your wave 4, you do have the 1.618. It's literally taking out the highs. I mean, this was a pretty steep fourth wave compared to your one wave. So your target zone is in between 1-to-1 and 1.618, which is literally at the highs. However, another target zone on your wave 5 is the 0.618 extension from your wave 1 to the top of your wave 3 to the end of your wave 4. Now, we do not know exactly where that wave 4 has ended yet, because this could be a long range before we take out the highs, and we need that low, be it the triangle, be it whatever, right? I don't know which is the exact low yet. But once that low is formed, to get a target from your wave 5 is getting the length of your 1, 2, 3 on the extension and putting it down to your wave 4, wherever the wave 4 ends. Once you break out the highs, you have the end of your wave 4. And the 0.618 is also a target zone for your fifth wave, which is getting the length of your 1, 2, 3 and the low of the fourth wave, the 0.618. This 0.618 extension is where we have the 1.618 extension from the retracement from the highs to the lows, right? The golden ratio. So, I mean, this is what I like about Fibonacci confluence, right? When you do have the possible projection of your wave 5, you also have the expansion, which is also with a possible deep crab pattern. And just to add something at the $90,000 is where we have the weekly naked point of control, at least on Bybit, right? Is where we have a high volume node. That high volume node, yeah, not this one. That high volume node, let's get Monday to Monday, Sunday right over here. There we go. There we have it. I knew it was there. This high volume node, weekly naked point of control from the first week of March, is sitting exactly where we have those extensions. So the $90,000 range is massive, massive confluence area. You got a high volume node, weekly naked point of control. This is first week of March. And you have the 0.618 extension. That is a tool that is letting us know where the fifth wave could extend to. And we have the golden ratio, right? The golden ratio from this consolidation. From this little consolidation, Fibonacci from the highs to the lows of Monday to Tuesday, 1.618 golden ratio from this basket, right? Boop, projected move. So I'm going to be very interested in shorting 90K, guys. I'm going to be very, very interested for that to be possibly the end of the wave 5. Could it end with a double top and we correct? It is possible, guys, but it's going to be very difficult to catch the high, in my opinion. The best high catching level would be the $90,000 range. That would be the best. That would be the best speculative short on the rejection of this weekly naked point of control. I have to say, if it blasts through the level, I'm not putting limit orders here, guys. I'm going to be very, very carefully playing this trade if we do reject from that pivot, okay, which is a weekly naked point of control. I mean, that's the level that I would be interested in that short. And it's interesting to see how this weekly naked point of control has a lot of Fibonacci confluence, right? Based on the fifth wave, based on the expansion of this basket, right? Kind of build up the confluence, and this is a very, very interesting zone, 90K. So we will see how we get up there. reacting at that zone is a very good pullback area. I can tell you that, right? We're building up that confluence. So let me just double check how many likes we do have, legends, and then we're going to go through the comment section. I'm not sure if you want to take a look at other scenarios, okay? Other cryptos. I mean, I guess with this little dump that stock market got, maybe all of those altcoins that pumped, right, are getting a little bit of a pullback at the moment. 𝗬𝗍 was pumping pretty nicely throughout the last 24 hours, and some other cryptos. Let's get to 500 likes, guys, and we are going to be back. We're going to take a look at some altcoins. Pretty much Bitcoin, I think it's just a nice little range, okay? Any volatility here is still going to be part of a correction, in my opinion. Worst case scenario is that we have finished that fifth wave in a truncated fifth wave right over here, right? Which would be, it would be not nice. It would be not nice. You know, I would miss the short position, but I would be very interested in shorts. Looking at the bounce, okay? The bounce is going to be very important for me if you do hit the golden pocket from this wave 2 to the wave 3. You know, I would be very interested in the bounce. If we get a collapse down to 85K, right, give or take, and then we bounce, I would be very interested. I do think that the price will roll down, right? You would arguably discuss it's a break of this uptrend, right? You would be breaking the uptrend. For all of those trend line lovers, right? You would be breaking trend, almost breaking the uptrend. So yeah, just with a classic bear flag, right? Anybody that has classic technical analysis terms, wedgie structure, you break the lows, and then obviously the bounce is going to be looking very interesting, right? To kind of back test the scene of the crime, to then roll back down, right? We start getting to 81, 82, 81, 80K, right? I would miss the short, I have to say. Very low probability that this was the fifth wave, but you know, if we start breaking down, I would have to come to the conclusion that it was a truncated fifth wave. We completed this wave with a fifth wave that did not take out the highs. I mean, you would have to come to that conclusion. And if you break trend here with an aggressive move down and you start overlapping wave 1, you get to the golden pocket, you realize that this is already starting to be impulsive. So the correction, the bounce will be looking very interesting. And that's, I wouldn't short the highs, but I would look for shorts on the bounce later on. Okay. So that's something that we would have to analyze throughout the next 24 hours if we were to get the breakdown, which I don't believe is the case, guys. And this is still part of a correction. Okay. It's just getting something ready. Okay. Getting something ready, because I am interested in shorts, and I've been interested in shorts on the higher time frame, you know, understanding that we could get a fake out below 90K, right? 89K. And I would miss the highs really, right? But overall, this would be a much higher probability setup, right? If you do break down from here and look for the bounce to then look for the rollover, that's the overall idea. But as we don't have that price action, and we're still leaning that this is corrective and we're going to claim the highs, hitting 89 or 90K, or, you know, we ain't going to speculate on that scenario. There will be time to analyze that kind of price action. Let's go right away through the comment section. But first of all, guys, let's get that like button absolutely destroyed. Remember, guys, if you are interested in trading, Weeks is an awesome platform. You only need an email and a password. You literally can trade anywhere. All right. You only need an email and a password. Of course, you do get some pretty nice perks. All right. You do have the 50% deposit bonus. If you deposit $2,000, you're getting $1,000. That's the maximum that you can get. Okay. On the 50% deposit, you just need to transfer that deposit to your futures account, and you're getting 50% on top of that. All right. You deposit 1,000, you're getting 500. You deposit 2,000, you're getting 1,000. It's maximum $1,000. But what is very interesting for the people as well, that you get 25% fee reduction instantly when you sign up with a link down below, guys. So you get lower fees on your trades when you sign up with the second link down below for Weeks, guys. So take advantage of all of that. Let's see how the price action develops now in the next coming hours. And for the different scenarios that we do see, let me just put here the background music. Let's see how many likes we do have already. We're going to get to 400. I know we can get to 400. Let's get the music on. I know we could get to 400 likes. We're just about to get to 400 likes. Smash up the like button. Bitcoin is dumping. It is taking the hit. Oi, 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 oi. Oof. Mamma mia. What's going on? What's going on? We're dumping. We're not breaking out. We're going to have to see a little bit more of the range formation. Would be quite interesting, in my opinion. But ooh, maybe people are right now. Holy moly! I don't know. I do not want to get into a long. Look at the price. It's collapsing. It's collapsing down. So the best option here is wait to see how we test this low at the moment. That 𝗬𝗍𝗽 pattern is not maintaining its ground. Let's see what stock market is doing, guys. Is there any news that is coming out? Any bad news, or stock market just wants to take the dump? Is there any tweets? Let me know. Stock market is taking the dump down. Let me know if there's been any bad news that has come out. I see here that we don't have any news. The price action doesn't. Looks like it's losing its peg here with the stock market. Stock market is dragging the price of Bitcoin as it is getting this momentum to the downside. Let's get to 400 likes, and then we're going to go through the comment section, analyze the price of Bitcoin. Okay, make sure to destroy the like button. Moving down pretty aggressively. I would personally not be in any trade at the moment. We'd have to see the price action stabilize a little bit, or maybe sweep up this low and check the reaction. Lots of shorts entering the market as well. Oh my goodness, we got a bunch of long positions entering on Bybit. That's what's happened. My goodness. Absolutely insane. The amount of longs that have entered on Bybit in the last 5-10 minutes, creating massive bearish CVD divergence. That's what's happened. We had millions of long positions entering on Bybit here, legends. Look at this, forming instant bearish CVD divergence. Holy moly. 18 million longs entered on this pump. Too many longs, guys. Too many longs very quick that are getting flushed out on Bybit. 17 million in just like 10 minutes. 17 million longs creating these massive bearish CVD divergence, and now we're claiming the lows. Holy moly. Holy moly. Bybit longs want to defend the level. Looks like that we're going to take out the lows here. Looks like that we are going to take out the lows. This has to be the zone that needs to hold and maintain its ground, guys. If we do not maintain a fake out here, if we do not fake out from this low and maintain support, then it could be looking very, very dangerous. You know, I would be saying, wow, you know, I missed the short position. I missed shorting the highs. I mean, this was no speculation for shorting, in my opinion, but this would be the sign of weakness if we do cross down here. And I would be very interested in the bounce. We'd have to wait for the bounce unless we capitulate, right? So we'd have to see that. Let's go. Get wrecked. You don't long when you have the CME gap. Look, why not long when the CME gap? I mean, this is the thing. Well, we do have a CME gap at $20,000. My man, come on. This CME gap thing, guys, is literally, you know, imagine we took 4 months to fill this CME gap. 4 months. Imagine saying don't long if you have a CME gap here when the price has moved up $20,000. Come on, guys. You know, this CME gap thing, eventually I do expect it to be filled up, because we do have, you know, I am leaning on all of this being, you know, more corrective in my opinion. I'm leaning on this to be corrective. But the CME gap here, it doesn't matter, guys. You know, we got a CME gap down at 20K. You know, there's a CME gap down here. We have a CME gap here, right? So you are saying that all of the people that have been in the bull run in 2023 and part of 2024 don't long because there's a CME gap. You know, no. Eventually this CME gap, I think we're very close to it, and we are looking for a correction ultimately. But yeah, let's see. Whew. I have to say, I was not expecting this move. I was not expecting this move, and I would want to see the price, if it dips down beneath this low, to maintain as support. We'd have to see a little bit of hold here. I would be interested in this long, but I need to see proof of support, right? Is it kind of an SFP, or basically jump into the 50%? This one I would be interested in snipering, just because we have a reason. We have this still a reason to be the correction, okay? Just a large wave 4 here. So let's see how the 50% Fibonacci is hit. And I would be interested in, you know, just because I have a bullish reason to get into this long position. Let's see how many likes, guys, we get above 450 likes, and then I'm going to go through the comment section. I mean, if this bounces from here, so be it, right? This is not a long that I would get into. 0.88 Fibonacci, right? If it bounces from here, so be it. But it would not be a long that I would be interested. You know, it could get a V-shape type of recovery, but it's a very difficult long position, I have to say. You know, we don't have VWAP. You know, we need to see more things on the chart. It could still be the low of the triangle. You know, this ended up in a zigzag right over here. This could still form a higher low, and then we form the triangle later on throughout the day, and we break out tomorrow. We need a little bit of more price action development. But if we do take out the lows, I would be interested in the 50% for a catch the low, right? If we do get a reaction, it's just a quick, easy entry. If you do boom, kind of SFP the 50%, it would be a sniper trade. And it could be the bottom. I do like it because we do have the zigzag scenario, ABC, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 50% Fibonacci. It would be a sniper long that I would take if the 50% Fibonacci holds, right? Eventually, if we do cross through this, I wouldn't long, right? If you just dump down from it and you cross it, then no longs to be taken. But if you hit the 50% and you get a reaction, it just gives you a great stop loss, and you would project, you know, the recovery here in the next 24 hours, right? Give or take 24, 48 hours would be an interesting reaction to check here if we do get down there. Let me just quickly take a hike as we do get the like button destroyed, guys. What a dumpy action. I'm going to read the comment section right now. Was there any bad news? I mean, it's not a major dump. We only dumped down $1,000. It just looks very aggressive because we're looking at the lower time frame. But when we zoom out, it's not much of a dump, right? Let's go through the comment section now. Yes. Time for comment section. Time for comment section, guys. Let's go. Over 1,000 people watching. We can get to 500 likes. Absolutely. This weekend looks very volatile. This weekend. I flip long for this. I'm tanking this dump. This range is to go for a bounce. Okay. Liquidation level. Volatile till April 2nd. People were saying don't long at 24K twice. Yes. Final shakeout. Next stop, the moon, says Steve. Still possible, moon. This is still looking corrective, guys. It's just been a little bit a little bit shaky, right? A little bit of a shaky range. But this is still looking corrective, guys. It's still part of a correction, right? We were like, ooh, you know, very hard to long right over here. I mean, very hard to long. Not a long that I would like. You know, long in the 0.88 when you cross it, when you're just about to sweep a low. You know, it's very aggressive, right? You're catching a waterfall, right? And it's just not part of my strategy, unfortunately, right? I do see them sometimes just get the bounce, and it's like, okay, well, so be it, right? But we're here to make money. We're not here to say, let's catch the low, right? This is a dangerous long position. I would rather wait till we hit interesting levels, which, you know, for me would be the 50% Fibonacci. Would be very, very interesting to see. The fact that we did get this dump as well, I mean, oh my goodness, people on Bybit are not stopping to long. You know, got some people here in the comment section saying that they're jumping into long positions. Man, on Bybit, people are longing like crazy. What's going on? What's going on? 18 million long positions on Bybit just in the last 15 minutes. And it's creating massive bearish CVD divergence. It's creating that massive liquidity below us. Very, very strong bearish CVDs. There's lots of longs, guys. You know, maybe those lows could be taken, right? If we just continue to build up those bearish CVD divergence in this movement, higher highs on, you know, on the CVD, it's, you know, very possibly going to take out the low. It's not a, you know, then obviously if you take out the low, 50% Fibonacci is what I'm going to be looking at. I'm going to be looking at the 50% Fibonacci. This is where I would possibly sniper a long position, sweep up the low, get those stop losses, and then this would be the long, guys. This would be the long that I would jump in. If we V-shape from here, then it's very, very hard. Then we, you know, I would still speculate on that we might form a triangle. I need a little bit more information. I need more information. You know, this is not very, very difficult. Very difficult at the moment. I would sniper the long here at 50%. But, you know, if we bounce from here very aggressively, so be it. You know, it's a bit of a waterfall catch, and, you know, we know the deal. When you're so close out of low, it's a stop loss situation here, right? Where am I putting my stop loss? Is it worth putting a stop loss here beneath the low? And I don't want to put it here because then you don't know if you're going to break down, right? But as they say, you need to risk it for the biscuit, right? Who's getting into a long position down here, legends, with this waterfall drop? It's just been a scary little shakeout. It's time to long, baby. It's going to V-shape from here. Let me know in the comment section right away. Shoo! They are feeding Wall Street. Yes, exactly. Chat, did a news hit the market? I mean, the movement down hasn't been too aggressive, I have to say. When you take a look at the stock market, it hasn't been much of a move. It looks like a strong move on the 5-minute, right? But it hasn't been much of a move. Okay, I wouldn't say it's news related. It's just a pullback that had to happen. Okay, we're still in the corrective range. Gonna have to see how the price develops here in the next coming hours. Let's go through comment section. What are people saying? All Koreans longing from Korean YouTubers. Yeah, very possible. Very possible. Yeah, I do believe that. I know they use Bybit. Lots of them use Bybit, and but they are creating bearish CVDs. I've seen many different Koreans do get wrecked, right? Massive bearish CVDs happening here, which is ultimately high probability that you take out the local lows, right? So, man, Bybit going crazy on long positions by the looks of things. 18 million long positions just in the last 15 minutes. 15 minutes. Pretty crazy stuff. We don't want to see this. forming bearish CVD divergence is not good. Ultimately, it's claiming the low. So, I mean, sweeping up the low would be very interesting. Sweeping up 50% Fibonacci and sweeping up the lows of yesterday, we still have the 50%. It would be looking very interesting. This is the zone where I would be interested in snipering a long position, and it would be a bit of a day trade, swing trade. Only if we get the reaction, right? We need to get that wick. We need to get that wick to literally liquidate all of those longs that are entering on Bybit now and just form a little dip of $500-600, right? Just get a little flush. And that would be an interesting sniper. That would be a very interesting sniper long position, in my opinion, that I would be willing to take. But what is very important is to get the recovery, and this would be ultimately the possible low. Okay, this would be possibly the low. So it would be a bit of a swing trade. So you don't need to risk too much. It's not a scalp, okay? Because people get these kind of entries wrong on their risk management, right? It's like, wow, I'm going to absolutely get into a massive long to try and catch the low. And they're risking too much, and with too much leverage and too much capital. But you're literally looking at a swing trade, more of a swing trade. It might be a day trade. It might end up bouncing here throughout tonight, right? But ultimately, you don't need to risk too much. I mean, this could be a 6-7 to 1 risk to reward if you react at the 50%, and you can be very defensive. So I would be kind of expecting a swing failure pattern at the 50%. Or the lows, and then you on the instant bounce, you can run a free trade, right? As soon as you get that liquidity sweep from all of those longs, all of those Koreans entering the long positions on Bybit, then as soon as you get an instant reaction bounce, you can be quite defensive, right? And almost run a free trade. So I mean, I would be interested in that, especially when we get so many bearish CVDs. I'm not sure. You're gonna have to see a bit more Korean whales if they want to hold this zone, I have to say, because if you do come down so close to the lows, it's there is a high chance that it could be taken, right? So preferably you kind of liquidate those longs, and then you long, right? Then you long after the liquidation event. You want to long after they get liquidated. Don't be part of the liquidity. And if it bounces from here, it's just not a long trade that I would take. It's just not a long trade that I would take, right? It's kind of, you're asking for it, right? With the massive bearish CVD divergence that you're forming now, which, ultimately could get invalidated. I mean, maybe not. We need a little bit more millions here entering right over here if they want to save their liquidity, because they just entered right now 18 million longs, more actually 22 million long positions entering here in this zone on Bybit, forming big, strong, bearish CVD divergence, right? Lower highs on price action, higher highs on CVD. Man, the liquidity pocket that is getting created here, it has to be pretty massive. So it makes sense to actually sweep up the lows, and once that liquidity has been grabbed, then look to get into this bounce from the 50% Fibonacci, which would be ideal, right? It would be the ideal trade. And if it bounces from here, then so be it. I mean, it's not a long trade that I could take with these massive bearish CVD divergence. And the plan ultimately, if you break down from 50%, we'll just have to leave the price go. Just let it go. No longs taken, right? The 50% Fibonacci is my guideline. This is my guideline. Anything beneath the 50%, I will not enter a sniper long. And as soon as the 50% gets a reaction, I would sniper right now if it gets above 50%, and I would put stop loss beneath that low created. Because, ultimately, with that theory, it's like you're sweeping up that liquidity. And as the liquidity has been swept from the low, then it's time to continue to the upside, right? So, and if it bounces from here, so be it, right? So be it. Not you know, we'd have to wait for the next development, that whatever happens in this zone, potentially being that larger triangle here. Still, as you haven't taken out the low here, you could still form that triangle. You know what would be interesting is if you do, there's lots of volume here, that there is a possibility that you can get a bounce here, right? The price action does get a little bounce. If it does, and then claims the low, what you could be forming here is a bit of a contracting 5 waver, right? You got a contracting 5 waver, and this would be a possible completion of that ABC, right? Where you have the highs here from the big runner that we had on Monday, and then you have the A wave, the B wave, contracting move in your C wave. If we bounce now and we get more bearish CVD divergence, this would be the liquidation event that you're looking to get into the long. I mean, this would be the best long position. And eventually it's the 50% Fibonacci, right? 50% Fibonacci is the guideline. Anything beneath 50%, you're not interested in catching here, anything, right? If it just collapses, then, you know, you could be in trouble. But if you get that reaction at the 50%, this would be the kind of formation that could be happening right now. And this would be your golden ticket right there. You know, as soon as you sweep up these lows, you grab that liquidity from all of those longs, all of those Korean long positions, right, that are forming massive bearish CVDs. It's a pure fight right now. I mean, you can see the volume on, I mean, this is the Bybit chart. So, you know, this is the volume coming from Bybit right now. They are really trying, but it's creating insane bearish CVDs. I would really say that those lows are going to be taken. It's going to be looking pretty damn good. So in a perfect world is get the bounce, form more bearish CVDs, and then get the lows taken. And then you have a 5 wave move down here, forming a contracting move in your ABC. This would be the perfect scenario. This is a possible scenario that could be happening. And then you get the rally. Yeah, it's kind of the perfect storm. It looks too good to be true. It would be nice to get a little bounce first before claiming the lows, I have to say. Because then you could count that contracting move here. It would be nice to get a little bit of a bounce here in the next coming minutes. And, you know, then to form this kind of price action. And, you know, this would be a flat. It would be a flat because this ABC, the B wave, did come up to the 0.9. So, you know, it is a flat, really. Yeah, it would be the perfect scenario. Would be the perfect scenario. Let's see how the price develops. If it breaks down from here, then so be it. So be it. I mean, this would be very, very nice to see. Very, very nice. Let's see if we do form this kind of price action. Would be interesting to see if we actually do form this. Let's go through the comment section and see what the people are saying. Who's bearish? Who's bullish? Who's bearish? This is it. Andy, can you take a look at the SPX? Yeah, S&P 500 did get a little bit of a hit. It looks like it wants to maintain this zone. Yeah, it kind of swept the lows here from Tuesday. and it's wanting to hold these lows here. A little bit of a dump today. It has dumped, what, 0.5% maybe? Not even that. 0.5% today with this dump. It has dragged Bitcoin. I mean, this was dragged with Bitcoin. Ooh, those Korean traders. Let's get the 50% Fibonacci, guys. This is the ultimate guideline that we do have to really hold on here. And if it breaks below the 50%, guys, I have to say this maybe was the top. Maybe this was the top. If it does get down to 85, you know, you're hitting the golden pocket. You're invalidating this impulse. So you would have to come to the conclusion that this was a truncated fifth wave, which is very rare, but it does happen, right? Doesn't mean it's impossible, but it does happen sometimes, not very often. But it's an option. It's an option. If you do start breaking down, you just have to come to that conclusion. So let's go through comment section, see what the people are saying. Are you feeling bullish? Are you in long positions? It's not over just yet. As yet, says Devils. Yes, the legend himself. This is still looks very corrective. It's still corrective, guys. It's still corrective till the golden pocket is hit, right? Once the golden pocket is hit, then I would be very, very skeptical of the situation. I mean, any brave traders out there that want to get into a small position and join the Korean traders on Bybit with that, with over 20 million in long positions on this dump, and still be part of these massive bearish CVDs. Holy moly. Long time since I've seen such aggressive bearish CVDs at the lows. It's insane. Because if you bounce from here and you form bearish CVDs, then it's like, okay, cool. But it's like very aggressive bearish CVDs still forming right now as we speak, very, very aggressively. So yeah, still in a correction, guys. It's still correction. It's still corrective. We're still looking for a leg up, okay? I want to know what the people are saying in the comment section. Would be nice to see what people are saying. What are they feeling? CME gap. Oh my goodness. Yeah, the CME gap is there. I'll tell you what, there's a CME gap at 9K and one at $20,000. Georgios, come on. CME gap that could be filled next year. It could be filled tomorrow. It could be filled next week. We do not need to, we cannot rely on CME gaps, okay? Because we have a gap here, it means that we're going to go and fill it now. Not the case. It's not the case with CME gaps, okay? We cannot rely on CME gaps, on local price action, on local possible moves. Could it get filled and drop down? Then absolutely yes. But yeah. We need to fill them. We need to fill them. Yeah, we need to fill the one at 9K. Some people say, the massive bearish guys right out there, that the CME gap that we do have at $9,000 created in 2020, 5 years ago already. There is a CME gap that was not filled, guys, at $9,000. You can see it right there. There's a CME futures gap from July of 2020 that was not filled. It actually got supported from the top of the gap. I guess this would have to be filled at some point, right? Do you think that Bitcoin can go to 9K at some point in the next coming years? We actually got another gap here. Oh, this one was filled though. This one was filled. Yeah. There's another one from 2023. There's another gap at 20K from March of 2023. Can we get down to this gap? We might fill this gap tomorrow. Yeah, guys, you know the deal with the gaps, okay? They do not need to be filled instantly. So, you know, we can't rely on that, on the gaps to be filled, right? It could. I mean, I kind of expecting this gap to be filled soon, just because what we're looking at here ultimately, you know, could be part of a large correction, right? This is what we've been talking about throughout the last few days. Expecting this latest move up. But what we're analyzing now is that this last leg up possibly hasn't finished just yet, right? Which is still the case, my legends. It's still the case. This here for a long position is only for the brave. I cannot long here, guys. And this is the kind of long that I would say I miss. You know, it's just not a long trade that's in my strategies, okay? If it bounces from here, and it's like, so be it. You know where I would be interested in a long, like mentioned, is if we do form a contracting move. We get the bounce, and then we get another low. Woo! This will be looking very, very good, guys. This would be looking very, very good after sweeping up that low. Then I would be interested in the long. If the price bounces and it forms another low, then I'm in. and you know, I would be using the 50% as the guideline. I mean, you could SFP from this low, but I would be using the 50% as a guideline here to jump into that long. You know, that would be a very likely high probability long setup. Would be looking very good. I mean, it's the entry is perfect. Reaction at 50%. Stop loss beneath the low. Give or take a bit of room. And what you're looking at is for this to be the low, right? So it would take maybe 1 to 2 days to actually recover back up to the highs. But that would be the long that I would enter, based on the local price action, right? Based on what we're talking about now. What's going on with the comment section? What's going on, guys? Let me know anything that you know. Where are you trading right now? Or you cannot trade because these different exchanges are asking for too many details. Well, then you have a great option, which is Weeks, of course, which only requires an email and a password wherever you are in this world. I think you can check it out. But it only requires an email and a password, and you get 25% fee reduction on your trades instantly once you sign up, guys, with the second link down below, okay? Check it out. Down below, you got Weeks for all of those Bitcoin traders. They do have lots of altcoins there as well. What's going on? It's bouncing. Not a long that I would have taken, guys. I'm sorry. You know, especially, you know, those Korean traders are actually managing. Look at the CVD. Look at the longs entering on Bybit. They're probably going to bring power. Bybit is going to be the exchange that actually pumps the market, right? Bybit is the one that's going to pump the market. We're getting over 25 million longs entering in the last 30 minutes and counting. Can Bybit long traders, Korean traders, somebody said it was Korean traders on YouTube altogether trying to pump the market from here. Maybe they can manage. Maybe they can manage. Philip, my man, much love to you. Check 𝗬𝗆𝗽𝗆 please, Andy. Philip, tell Andy to look into 𝗬𝗆𝗆𝗽𝗆. 𝗬𝗆𝗆𝗽𝗆 coin. 80K incoming today. Wow, we got somebody here very bearish. Very bearish. 80K. We're still looks very corrective, guys, as mentioned. This is still very corrective price action, okay? Very, very corrective. Many scenarios have been explained. If we were not to form this ABC movement, right? Let's hang on a minute. Let's just put this inside of this possible move that could happen. It's a possibility. Would want to see a little bit of a bounce here. Little bit more of a bounce, a little bit more of a, you know, try to move up and then bang, get the lows. You got a 5-wave move here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then we get the recovery. It might be the long, guys. It might be the long of the day. Let's see how price develops. What are people saying? This ain't no bear trap. Montana. This ain't no bear trap. And we are going lower, right? This ain't no bear trap and we are going lower. Yeah, I do think, you know, I do think we can liquidate those Korean traders, right? As somebody said in the comment. And I know that most of them do use Bybit, so you would arguably discuss it as them. But there's, without a doubt, a liquidity pocket created here right now with all of the long positions that have entered in the last 30 minutes down here. 18 million, 7.6 million, and 2 million right over here. So there's over 22 million long positions here entered in the last 30 minutes, which is creating a bit of a liquidity pocket here, which would be nice because what you would expect is the sweep of the lows and then obviously ultimately the recovery after grabbing all of that liquidity, right? Let's see. I hope Bybit will get wrecked, says unknown user. They may be turned into kimchi this weekend. Kimchi. Hope so, bro. Think we need some liquidations at different lower points. Montana. Yeah, you know what is interesting to see on the liquidity map is there is a bunch of liquidation at $89,000 area. Okay, so it's interesting. Let me just refresh this and go to the 7-day chart. Yeah, $89,000. I mean, there's lots of liquidity eventually going down to 82, 83. And we know how the price moves down, right? It moves down very aggressively. So it's going to be hard. You know, I have to say this was not I did not jump in any short position. I was interested in the shorts as we moved up here, but we needed to get above the highs here. And analyze the 5-wave move up, right? We need to analyze the 5-wave move up, and the best zone is 90K. If you want to speculate on catching the high for a decent drop in the next coming days, it would be $90,000 is your guideline, right? As explained there, is where we have, a lot of confluence. One of them being the weekly naked point of control, which is sitting at 90K, right? That's the ideal level. This point of control, naked point of control from the price action of the 7th of March is really holding strong. So yeah. And like I said, the thing about when the price moves down and it starts capitulating, it would, I know the sign of weakness would be hitting the golden pocket here. This would be a clear sign of weakness, and I would arguably discuss that this range has finished, right? All of this is a part of a finished range. I would not speculate that this is a quadruple 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 and then 3, right? It is possible to form 4 1 2s. I have to say it is possible, but it would be very difficult, very, very difficult. Eventually we would be looking at a truncated 5th wave right over here. Ooh. When we have very difficult price action, I would rather, stay away, stay away till things are clear. But for this to be a 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 and then up, then eventually you want to hold the golden pocket to the 7/8 Fibonacci, right? Which is really in this area, man. Depending on the bounce, I would be interested in looking for shorts. I do think the price would collapse down if we were to hit the golden pocket. I would be more interested in analyzing the bounce for the shorts. It's going to be difficult. Of course, you do have the multiple 1-2 scenario, which I don't think would happen, but you never know, right? You never know. And especially when you form the truncated fifth wave, it's like, poof, not buying it. I'm not buying it. I would be interested in looking for shorts. If we do get a strong move down, I would be interested in analyzing the bounce, right? And, you know, in theory, just taking a look at the basics, you have the trend line break, right? And you have the retest of the scene of the crime, right? Kind of thing. Very easy, would be too obvious. But it's something that I would be interested in looking for shorts. If we were to get the bounce, breaking the uptrend trend, you move down, you invalidate the impulse. And then eventually the three-wave structure, we'll be analyzing very, very carefully how we move up here to look for the high probable shorts, right? Because you would be speculating on a third wave here, right, to finally get a breakdown. But you know the deal, the price action moves down faster than it moves up. So the problem is for looking at the bounces on the capitulation, sometimes you don't get them, right? Sometimes it's just a, right? We know that the price moves faster to the downside than to the upside. And, you know, people are waiting for a breakdown confirmation to get into a bounce, and then the price just does this, right? And it's like, damn, you know, my plan was to get into the bounce, but we did not get any bounce. You know, it just moved down. So, yeah, let's go through comment section, see what the people are saying. That like button is getting absolutely destroyed. Shout out to you, legends. Let's go. It's going to be interesting, guys. I wish I would do another live stream, but there are many scenarios. I mean, the easiest one would be this one. If this bounce gets rejected and we move down, there is an ABC flat possibility with your C wave forming a contracting move. And then you liquidate those people, and then we head up, guys. This is the long position that you would use the 50% Fibonacci as your guideline for this scenario, from this pivot low to the pivot high. If you bounce from here and you form a V shape, it's just not a long that I could enter, I have to say. You know, it's just because my problem here with the local bearish CVD divergence, if I entered a long here and I put my stop loss here, you're kind of asking to get stopped out, right? You're kind of asking to get stopped out. So it's just not an option. It's not an option here for a long. So what would be an option for a long is if you bounce and you claim the lows again, because then you have 5 waves down here and you have the ABC flat possibility. That's going to be a good long position. So, you know, maybe it could happen in the next coming hours. This bounce could come back down to the lows, and I would be very interested in that long. And remember, I would be using the 50% Fibonacci from this pivot low to the pivot high as my guideline. And it's just ever so slightly beneath these lows. So it would be interesting to see the sweep of that level and then look for the long. It might happen. It might happen. It's a plan, and it's all about creating plans with the waves, guys. It's all about creating plans, and that is a plan. Will this plan come to fruition? We're going to have to see, legends. We're going to have to see. Remaining patient is absolutely key till we find something clear. If the price does bounce from here and we reject and we bounce again, we form a higher low, then the triangle is formed here from that WXY, right? It's like, oh my goodness, we just missed the low. we're maintaining the low and we just continue grinding. And you know, as long as this low is still available, is still hasn't been hit. I mean, we've been talking about this through the stream, but my goodness, we went much lower than you would arguably discuss this, right? And this could still extend. Would be looking very long, but overall, if we bounce, we form a lower high, and you know, we reject, we form a higher low tomorrow morning, right? I have to say, you know, maybe this is still very much a valid scenario. Maybe it's not going to be that long, guys. I mean, this is just this is like a template of what could happen. You know, maybe it's more shallow. It's just a little template on what, you know, you really have to analyze the waves here. But it might be much shorter in time, right? You know, it's a possibility, right? If we start ranging with a lower high and a higher low, guys, it could be this. This could be the WXY. As long as you maintain this higher low and we're ranging here, then I would say this is it, guys. This is the triangle of the Y. As long as you maintain this low. And then I would be interested in the long, saying, okay, this is ready to squeeze out. Would be really analyzing where the E wave could finish. But we need a bit of a range. We need a bit of a squeezed triangle here, which could take many hours to form. But as long as we do not take out this low, it is still valid. It is still a valid scenario, right? So maybe this could be it. If we do consolidate here in the next coming hours, I would be very interested in looking for the long position to take out the highs. So it's still an option as long as this low is not taken. But we need the range. The other option is this one. And if we break down, then we break down. If we break down to the golden pocket, we break down, guys. Okay, it's just I need the triangle to get into the long. I need the 50% Fibonacci to be respected to get into the long and put the stop loss beneath the low of the liquidity grab. There's just a few options here to consider the long position. If it V-shaped from, I mean, yeah, if it does do this, then I would have to, you know, then you would come to the conclusion that would have to come to the conclusion, if it were to recover from here drastically, you would, I would have to come to the conclusion that your wave 4 was here, and this has been your first wave, and this has been your ABC coming down to the 0.88 Fibonacci, and then, you know, that's if we were to V-shape. You'd have to come to the conclusion that, you know, this has been your first initial wave. This has been your corrective wave, and this has been a 1 and this has been a 2, because you still formed a higher low. Right? If it V-shaped from here, very, very difficult, of course. Let's go continue through the comment section, legends. Much love to everybody. Anyone long in here is completely delusional. Very true, my man. You know, this is not a long position that I would ever get into, right? As you hit the 0.88, right? It's just not a long that I would take. If it were to V-shape, you're forming massive bearish CVDs. You know, it's not a long that I would take in a million years. If the traders do manage, the Korean traders do manage to maintain this zone and get into more million long positions and manage to pump the price, then, you know, it was a lucky move. Let's leave it that way. It's a lucky recovery. Based on the analysis in the charts, it's not a long that I would take in a million years, especially with massive bearish CVDs forming. These ones have played out. These ones right over here have played out, taking out the lows. Yeah, but no, you got these new fresh ones. Yeah, regardless, you know, the lows look like they can be taken eventually, right? You just big ones from this pivot high. So it's just very likely that the lows can be taken based on the bearish CVDs. Okay, so let's go continue. This why are you worried? Yeah, obviously there's commissions, of course. They you know that it is they are sponsored from the channel, but they are backed up from many big other cryptocurrencies exchanges. Okay, so they are backed up by the large crypto exchanges, and you know, murder your reputation. There's nothing scammy about them. They're good. They're legit for the moment, right? But FTX was legit as well, so you never know. But they are backed up by large exchanges. Okay, bears getting liquidated. I mean, this is obviously not a zone. Bears getting liquidated. I wouldn't say liquidated with this move, but yeah, this is a zone to not really, for me anyway, based on my strategies, to not long or short. Being so close here to the lows, big bearish CVDs, you realize that you're still in bullish momentum from the last few days. You know, as mentioned, for me to get into the short trade, the levels of interest for me is 90K, which has very good extension levels, right? If this were to be the fourth and we do get that pump, then obviously I'm speculating on the fifth wave to top out, either at 90K. 90K is the guideline, just going to wait for that level, or the very local long position is either the ABC flat with a contracting move here on the formation, very possible. Large range, very boring throughout the next coming hours, forming a triangle that could be very interesting in a WXY. Boom, we get the leg up, look for a long after forming one more lower high and one more higher low. Just gonna have to wait for a little bit of more information. I think there's a dangerous area, nothing clear for me at the moment to be confident. So yeah, don't worry, Andy, I took the long for you. You silly bear. JR, good luck with that, my man. I hope you have good risk management. I've started joining Master Andy and the Legend every day at 10 a.m. here, North Carolina. The calculated probability projections are the best I've seen. I'm a new trader, so thank you kindly, Andy. Very much love to you, J. Charles. I fall asleep yesterday with 550x on Doge, and when I got up, it was moon. Absolutely insane. That was a lucky trade, I would say. Devil did provide an epic long position on Doge in the Legends trading community. 70K, please. I would be very interested in buying some Bitcoin at 70K. I did mention this in the last few weeks, that if the price does dip down below 76K, I'm going to start deploying some of my cash back into Bitcoin. I did sell some Bitcoin at 90K and 100K. I was just happy to use some of that money to DCA back in again. Would be interested in that, actually. Why is hype tanking so hard? Right, somebody asked about hype. Hyperliquid, right? Wow, 20% drop today. Supposedly this is a very solid decentralized exchange, but hype, why is it tanking? My goodness, I have no idea. I'm not sure if they had a liquidity issue or something, or I don't know. But supposedly, oh my goodness, this is taking a deep tank today. Oof. Wow, I have no idea why this is tanking so much. But you can see, right, if we are relying on the, oh my goodness, this is what could be lying for Bitcoin. Right, when we analyze this move right over here, holy moly, this is what we could be looking at for Bitcoin, which is part of the analysis. I mean, I would like to see that attempt of breaking up, but damn you, Bitcoin. We could jump into a short later on. Like I said, if we get that sign of weakness, if the market gives us the possible bounce, you know, I am interested in this move down. But it's, you know, this was not a zone to get into a short, in my opinion. It's just very, very hard to get into the short. This looked very corrective. It still looks corrective. I mean, this is not the end. But when you see this kind of price action and you take a look at this chart over here, holy moly, right? Is this altcoin mirroring what could happen to Bitcoin? Massive capitulation, right? This is the last 2 weeks price action on Bitcoin. Holy moly, right? We got this price action on the last 2 weeks, and now you get this capitulation. Holy moly, guys. I mean, we are looking for a possible end of a pattern here, all right? I have to say, it was just difficult to get into the short. And this is a very ugly truncated fifth wave, if that were to be the case. This is rare. It happens very rarely, but this is you know, it would be the scenario that we were looking at throughout the last several days and even the last week, where we could be forming a WXY. The problem is with this latest move, and this is, you know, this is why it's dangerous to long late, right? You know, this is, maybe some people are speculating on that breakout, but you have a possible completed structure here that ends up in a pretty nasty fall, right? This could be a completed structure that we've been talking through the last week. The problem is we've been focusing on the latest move, right, throughout the last few days. This would be a little bit of a surprise to say that your fifth wave was a truncated fifth wave, which doesn't happen very often at all. Very, very rare kind of movement, but it's possible. So, you know, that's the scenario here. We're still leaning that this is corrective. We're still in the range. We're still looking at this to be a correction. We're still looking for the pop out. Okay, nothing has changed. It's just a very difficult long position to get in here. It's not a long position that I would never enter. It's a dangerous zone. The best scenario is a swing failure pattern from the lows, which is 50% Fibonacci is your guideline. Is your guideline to maintain above it. So we're going to see how that happens, guys. I'm going to wrap it up. Thank you very much for joining the stream, guys. Stay cautious. We got, you know, there's a few plans here. The price might range. The price might hold the 50% Fibonacci. If it loses 50%, I would not be interested in longing, okay? Not interested in longing if the 50% does not hold. Then we just look for the price to dump. Stay safe with your trading, guys. Remember that you get the awesome deals on Weeks, okay? Weeks has a great deal of 50% deposit bonus with a $1,000 cap. You can sign up just with an email and a password, and you also get instant 25% fee reduction on your trades, guys, on Weeks. It's the second link down below. I've been using it for several months right now, so it works very, very nice. Stay safe with your trading. We're still corrective. We're still leaning on the corrective side, guys. There's nothing to worry about. It's just a major pullback, but we should be holding this area. Let's see what happens throughout the next coming hours. Trade safe, guys, and I will see you in the next one.